Thanks for tuning in, everybody. You guys are the greatest. You know what I mean? Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking us out. Hope if you're on here, you have subscribed to the channel and give this video a little like ski. Helps with the spread of the video. As we look to spread over the internet like a silly sauce virus, everybody. That would mean a whole ton to me. And, yeah, let's get into some Miami Heat here, all right? So Tyler Herro recently had Jake Paul on the morning show. And if you guys like that, youtube.com/theticketmiami is where you guys can check that out. The clips, all of that silly sauce, me and Leroy. I actually have the Jake Paul video up on this channel, so you guys can check that on out. But he had Tyler Herro on his new show. I believe that's coming out this week, and he says they're going to address the trade rumors. But Tyler Herro was doing a back-to-school event with the Miami Heat. He was doing that in a Target at Dayland Station and addressed what is going on with his summer. How is he handling all of this stuff? And gotta say, not too surprised with everything that Tyler Herro had to say, which wasn't really much. Like, I wouldn't say these are the juiciest quotes in the world on how he's handling everything. Like I've been saying all summer with Tyler Herro, the guy has a black belt in trade rumors. He is an expert at this point. I remember him. I asked him about the trade rumors last year at I believe it was a Miami Heat camp, I think is when I got the chance. And he was like, doesn't affect me anymore. Putting all that stuff in the past. And because like there's a great piece by Izzy Gutierrez on Tyler Herro this year. If you guys haven't read it, I would recommend checking that out. We're talking about like him and Duncan Robinson. Like it affected them going into that Tyler's second year. But then like all that stuff just kind of, washed off and went by the wayside this last summer when then the whole James Harden thing was going down and other trade rumors are going down, or any of those trade rumors are going down. So for him, being in Kevin Durant trade rumors, trade rumors with Kevin Durant, Donovan Mitchell, these are very, very good players around the league. It's not like Tyler Herro's being spit around for bums. It's not like they're saying, hey, go trade Tyler Herro for John Collins. Go trade him for Miles Turner, go, and all respect to those guys. But it's not like they're out here saying, hey, just go trade him for anybody. There's some Colin Sexton stuff out there with them. I wouldn't trade Tyler Herro for Colin Sexton or any of that stuff. Like, no, we're talking about the hope if he was in a Heat trade, you're getting like an Uber star to help you go. And I got to say, like, even the Donovan Mitchell thing, I think is a bit of a debate for trading Tyler. Like Kevin Durant, if you could add Kevin Durant to Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler, like, come on, dude. Like that's getting a generational talent to put with two all-stars. That's a monster move. You understand the organization with that. But for him, I think that he probably knows that he is got a very, very bright future ahead of him with all of this, whatever team that he's going to be on. And that was kind of the thing that he put out there. He says, quote, I mean, every summer, it just is what it is. Ever since I've been here, my name has been in rumors. So rumors, like I said last summer, they don't bother me. I'm getting ready for the season, and whether I'm on the Heat or somewhere else, I'm getting ready for the season. As you get older and more years in the league, you realize that this is what comes with the business. You could be in one city one day and next city the next. But at the end of the day, it's about me getting better every single day in the summer. And like I said, what team I'm on, I'm ready to play. So yeah, nothing surprised about that. And he's like, I was telling this to Jake Paul when he interviewed him, like, we haven't heard much from Tyler. He has not been out here cryptically tweeting. He has not been putting out SMH. The only thing that he's really reacted to was like a hoops hype list. Everybody thinks that he subtweeted that. And, totally fine to be feeling like you were disrespected on a shooting guard list. Like, what's the issue with that? Like, everybody's out here allowed to be confident in their abilities around the league and what they can bring forth. So for him to put this out there, yeah, he has been. It's funny where he's like, as you get older in the league, and he's like, 20. What is he? He's 22 years old, going to be 23 in January. So still a very, very young man. But yeah, he's dealt with a lot of the highs, the lows of the business, and kind of a crazy NBA career too, because you have 3 seasons kind of bunched into a very, very short amount of calendar time because of pandemic and all of that type of stuff. So for him not to be fazed by this, I wasn't surprised to read these quotes from Tyler Herro. I don't know if he'll be a little bit more candid on something like a Jake Paul show about it, because I know Tyler's not going to give you anything that outlandish. Like, I think the thing that he's, and when he's, a pretty direct guy all of the time. He's just like, the only thing that the guy really wants to do is start. I mean, that has been pretty clear for a while now. He has said it every time they brought up the Sixth Man of the Year award, that his goal is to start. His goal is to be an all-star. These are fine aspirations to have. And I think for him, what really is, if there's a bigger, I guess you could say, concern, and he didn't really give too much voice to this yesterday as he just let it be, I would say, as a topic, is the extension. I think for him, that's the much bigger deal, even more so than, and maybe Heat fans don't want to hear this, but bigger than knowing where you're going to play is how much you're going to get paid to play. That to me is, if I was in his shoes as a young star in this league and on the verge of, getting a monster extension, whatever that ends up being, if it is the 5-year max, which I don't know if it will be. I don't think it's going to be, or something in the 4-year, $100+ million range. Like that, you definitely want on paper. Like going into a year and knowing that you are set for generations. You're about to have your second child, knowing that all is taken care of, your family, your brothers, all that stuff is taken care of. That to me would be a much heavier pressure to take on, as it is for any family. Like these guys are helmed with so much responsibility at a young age, to take care of their loved ones. And to me, that would be a much more frustrating thing with the Kevin Durant thing, because let's be honest, like if the Kevin Durant thing wasn't a thing, probably signs it already, right? Like most of these guys who have gotten their extensions. So I think for Tyler, that's probably what the bigger weight would be as far as anything. Doesn't mean it would, if anything, it probably, motivates you more because it pisses you off to work out. Not that he needs that motivation or anything like that, but that would be a much tougher thing to bear than, am I going to play in Brooklyn? Am I going to play in Utah? Because whatever team that trades for him knows that when they trade for him, they're going to probably pay him a lot of money. Now, the thing that maybe gives you a little bit of concern if you're like, does that team trade for me knowing that? Yeah, they certainly do. And do they do that knowing it and wanting to do it? That's another thing. Tyler on the extension says, I mean, I know about as much as you know. I'm just waiting my turn and we'll see what happens. There's a deadline, but I'm going to let my agent take care of that and see what happens. So right now he's just in the fix of that. He says that he does want to start. He said that. Riley says, you got to go earn it. I don't think he's fazed by that. And I also don't think it's I also don't even think it's that big of a controversial thing for Riley to say. Riley's always been pretty direct with Tyler Herro with all that stuff. And I think that's just kind of like the nature of the Heat. But I truly do believe, look, if he is going to come back to the Miami Heat this year, they should start him. It comes a time. Like, it's the same thing with Bam. They did the same thing where it was a determination. They had all this money invested in Hassan Whiteside, but you saw it the second half of that year where Bam was starting to play more and Hassan Whiteside was grumbling about it, that this was the direction they were going to go. And eventually he got to start. That would have been Tyler's rookie year. And that team ended up going to the finals, and they made that determination. And I do think that with the Heat, this is the place I would definitely go. I think that we are looking for an offense and a team that's going to have a little bit more scoring punch. And I do think that having Tyler Herro out there is important, because I think that if you're going to invest that much money in him and you are going to believe in him, like, yeah, being a starter, maybe it seems like something stupid, and the Heat are always able to dress things up nicely. Like it's a cute thing for Eric Spoelstra to say things like, he's our sixth starter. These things don't matter. It's a quaint thing to say. And, Spo is a top 15 coach of all time. He's going to be a Hall of Famer, all that stuff. So he has certainly the clout and the credentials to say things like that. But it doesn't mean that it makes players any happier about it. And I do think that for Tyler, this bench role to the best of anybody's asking last year. And some may say, well, why change with what worked? It's like, well, you don't you do want these things to grow eventually, right? Like you do want these things to, if he is going to be a staple of your franchise, and you do make that determination that he is, a cornerstone or a key piece, or you believe in his improvement, then I think it is important. One, I think it shows a lot of confidence in him, which this team has always believed in Tyler Herro's abilities in the basketball landscape, because he's taken big shots for them. He's been key for them. The playoffs did not go, I think, that in any way that he had hoped that they had gone last year, because of, the way teams were game planning against him. They paid a lot of attention to him. They tried to make him uncomfortable. Been a big focal point for him to put on more strength, more mass this year, all that type of stuff. And then, of course, being banged up. And that is, though, with him being hurt, it was a big deal, and not being to the best of his abilities. Like when all of these teams around the league are given the benefit of the doubt, when the Bucks are given the benefit of the doubt of Chris Middleton being out, and the Celtics are given the benefit of the doubt for Rob Williams being banged up. And I look at, Heat fans looking at their team, and yeah, I'm guilty of definitely wanting to be in on the whale game, but we do have to acknowledge with truth, like, hey, Kyle Lowry, not himself, clearly hurt. Tyler Herro, not himself, very hurt. What would this Heat team be like being able to support Jimmy? What would this team be like if they were at their optimum level? You can't guarantee health. Every year there's major injuries. Every year something happens. So maybe people scoff at that with the whole run it back thing. I get it. I went into this summer thinking to myself, there's no way the Heat are going to run this thing back. No way. But it's looking very, very much like that is going to be the case. And so if that is the case, you do look to the elements of, all right, what is going to make this better? And Tyler Herro, with being stronger, enabling and nurturing that confidence even more, even though, he's certainly not somebody who needs a lot of confidence breathed into him, but giving the keys to him as a place where he doesn't have to be the point guard. Because remember, they tried to do that the second year. You were going to start him. Like, you did start him the second year, and you made him essentially the point guard of the team. It didn't go great. Now he gets to have Kyle Lowry by his side. I think that can go a lot better. I do. It's not necessarily the defensive stalwart team that you had, but you were starting Duncan Robinson for most of the year last year. I think that nobody's going to look at Duncan Robinson and mistake him for Gary Payton. So every time the Heat play basketball, the weak point in crucial situations is going to be attack Tyler Herro. It's just what's going to be. You have Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo out there on the floor. Whether it's going to be Victor Oladipo, Caleb Martin, any of these guys, if Tyler Herro's out on the floor with them, they're all going to try and get Tyler Herro switched on the ball handle. Like, that's going to be what they try and do at all points. For Tyler, it's not just about improving on defense. Like, it's, can he make them pay on the other end in those critical spots to make it worth it? And that's the thing that was hurtful about the playoffs is, yeah, we know he's going to get picked on defense. That's going to be just like Trae Young is, just like, a lot of guards around this league that are high scoring, not usually the best defenders, but they make them pay so much on the other end that you can't take them off the floor. That's where he has to put himself and get to. But I think that starts with him being in the starting lineup this year and getting as many reps as that possible, getting all of this stuff figured out by the time you are set, because it's going to be a long season ahead, and there's a lot of the regular season gives you a lot of room to breathe and do some tinkering and get things right. But I do think that him getting that opportunity is important. I really do. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Like, I think that's the other thing is, do they go into this thinking to themselves, all right, let's be comfortable throughout the regular season and then, ultimately get to a spot and switch him into the starting lineup? No, I think that you try it out and see how it goes. And I think that's going to be the case. I feel like that's going to be the case. But, they do say it's a competition. They got to go earn everything. But I do think that he earned a lot with what he did in that role last year. We'll just see if it's enough to earn himself that extension with all these rumors that are swirling around.